I kept my son's box braids for his private school interview after the admissions coordinator suggested something a little more neutral. Marcus is 8. He's been wanting box braids since last winter, when his cousin showed up to Christmas with his hair done like that, and Marcus couldn't stop staring the whole night. He asked me about it on the drive home, kept asking. We finally did it in April, spent a Saturday at my sister Renee's place while she and her friend Tanya worked section by section at the kitchen table. Marcus sat still for almost 4 hours, which if you know Marcus is a minor miracle. When they finished, he walked laps around the kitchen just looking at himself in every reflective surface he could find. The interview at Whitmore Preparatory was set for a Wednesday, 9 a.m. It's a K-8 school where the hallways smell like wood polish, and they hand you a glossy brochure at the door with a Latin motto on the cover. We'd been on the wait list for 2 years. A spot opened up and they called us in for what the coordinator described as a family meeting and student visit. I ordered Marcus a navy blazer online. He asked if he could wear his braids. I said obviously. 4 days before the interview, I got a call from a woman named Sandra, following up to confirm the appointment. Very friendly, very efficient. And then at the end, almost like a postscript, she said, "Oh, and just so Marcus feels comfortable fitting in, you might want to consider something a little more neutral for his hair. Something lower key." She gave a small laugh after. Like she was doing me a favor. I said, "I'm sorry, can you say that again?" She said it again. Something about first impressions, about how the other families tend to present, about wanting Marcus to feel like he belonged from day one. I said I'd think about it and hung up. I did not think about it. I called my sister. Renee said, "If you touch one braid on that child's head before that interview, I will personally drive over there." My husband Derek said we needed to be practical. The spot was real. Marcus's current school was overcrowded. His class had 31 kids and one exhausted teacher. We'd been trying for 2 years. He said, "I get it. I do. But can we get through the door first and deal with the rest after?" I didn't argue that night, but I didn't sleep great either. The morning of the interview, Marcus came downstairs already in his blazer. I'd redone his edges the night before and put little navy elastic bands on the ends of his braids to match his jacket. He stood in the doorway for a second like he was waiting for me to notice. I told him he looked perfect. He said he knew. Derek poured his coffee and didn't say anything either way. We got to Whitmore at 8:43. Sandra met us in the lobby. I recognized her voice immediately. She shook Derek's hand, then mine, then looked at Marcus and smiled in this careful, held way. She said, "Oh, so we're going with the braids." I said, "We are." She said, of course, right this way." The tour was good. Marcus was polite, asked the science teacher about the microscopes he spotted through a classroom window, told the librarian he'd already read 2 of the books on her display shelf, charmed every adult in that building. Sandra kept introducing us to other families with this faint, strained look, like she was waiting for something bad to happen. When the student portion wrapped up, she brought us to a conference room to meet Dr. Ellison, the head of admissions. He was warm. He asked Marcus about his interests, and Marcus talked about robotics for 5 minutes straight without coming up for air. Dr. Ellison was laughing by the end. He leaned back and said, "Honestly, he's exactly who we're looking for here." Then Sandra started in about community cohesion and culture fit and how families in the program tend to present. Derek nodded. I watched Dr. Ellison's face. I said, "Sandra called me 4 days ago and suggested we think about a different hairstyle for Marcus today. Something more neutral was the phrase." Dr. Ellison looked at her. She said, "I was just trying to help him feel comfortable." I said, "His braids are part of who he is. He asked for them. He chose them. He's been wearing them 4 months. What about them makes you think he wouldn't fit in here?" She said, "I didn't mean it as a criticism." I said, "What did you mean it as?" Dr. Ellison said, "Sandra, can you give us a few minutes, please?" She left. He looked at me and said, "I want to apologize for that call. That is not guidance we give to families. Full stop." Then he looked at Marcus. "Your hair looks great, by the way." Marcus said, "I know. We got the acceptance letter that Friday. Sandra is no longer in the admissions office."